Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Good, Baruch Hashem.
Good.
Okay. So we are
Yud.
good. Yes. Okay. Definitely looks like an interesting one. Gnus avas atzmo. The negative. How bad it is to love oneself. Okay. And then Nasi. Kishokre Mussar Hema. Whoever he's writing to, he says he has pleasure that they are learning from Mussar. They learn to hear something. I'll tell you a new thing which I never heard before. Almost out. First, adorn, or in other words, decorate, deal with yourself before you adorn others. Shamati mi bale Baal Mussar echad. And for one, Baal Mussar was the Ishnale, a lofty person. For Amar Pam Achas b'chayav. The way he put it is once that kikodem shekosh eno you can't, you're not allowed to adorn others before you adorn yourself. In other words, not only is it a bad idea, it's forbidden. Well, that leaves the Baal Mussar in a quandary, because the real Baal Mussar is supposed to be a big on-of. If he was a big on-of, he'll never feel that he was makashet himself properly. So he never feels makashet himself properly. How can he makashet other people? So he says, I know that I'm very low in intellect and in activity. Which is all that which a person has to do in this world. I fled from trying to fix others. In other words, he can give us advice, he can be a resource, but he didn't try and fix people. I always had in my mouth the statement, that's me, and I'll fix myself. Then I'll be able to fix others afterwards. But Rabbi Sosalanter, he disagreed. He said, I have to go out and do it. Right? So therefore I recognize that it's a great matter in our current times. To bring people close to Torah Mussar, Gam Yachad, both. But I still thought I wasn't so capable, nor talented, the Kabbalites to accept upon myself the burdens of others. If on one of the Amoraim fasted, several fasts, that the burden of the community should not fall upon him. Chazal say, tell that when Yeshua said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Adoni Moshe Klo'im, about Eldad and Medar, who were prophesying in the camp. So Klo'im is an interesting word, which can have which bears many interpretations. One of them, Chazal says, Hatelem Tzorchet Tzibur, they call him Me'aleim. Give them, make them work for Klal Yisrael, and then they'll on their own. They're going to come to their doom. So that's what I always thought, even after Rabbi Sol tried to get me involved. But I heard once a statement of some famous wise man. Shamli said, you can't wait to be mashpia on others when you're old. Because then a person will not be able at that point to start dealing with the masses. Interesting. Shakain, therefore, Tila, Baruch Hashem, female erki, according to my low value. Nevertheless, the beginning was a good beginning. Ufida lus erki, again, according to my low value, and he's harti ma'at mizer. I was very careful. Not sure ma'at mizer. In a minute way, I guess. When I was began to be involved with the masses, that I should distance myself from love of myself. In other words, I'm not doing it for my own aggrandizement, my own glory. But only to expand truth and amplify it. Without hoping for anything according to my low value. Because I know very well that self pleasure of oneself, whether it's monetary, covered, or with fame or honor, it truly destroys or corrupts and destroys also oneself and others. If a person is interested in his own furtherance, and this is certainly a true statement, he cannot escape flattering people in a way which is inappropriate, either a way which is an outright lie or a way which is too verbose and um, too too much, and that leads very often to the opposite way we're supposed to do. You were trying to fix people. In the end, you try and reassure them that they're okay as is. Um, Rabos matos there are many other things which cause a person to deviate midarke emes from the pathways of truth, the derachim shkalim, to the false paths. Tamidei si mischazek with that. I was always strong in this. Actually, kasher bam say Rabbi nechrav beis haTalmud and these gov the grubin. Rabbi Simcha Zissel's first major project, I should say, was a school called the Talmud Torah in a town called Grubin, in which he trained uh, youngsters to grow up to be Balabatim Yirei Mushlemin. He had a dual track curriculum, which was at the time very um, controversial. In fact, Rabbi Solanto refused to put his name, associate his name with the Talmud Torah because of his dual track curriculum, and it obviously had a tremendous emphasis on Mussar and Midos, and the children of many rich people attended it because it was like the only school of its kind in Lithuania. Eventually, it failed. I don't know why. I don't recall if I ever knew why. I'm sure it's a summer recorded later on. After Grubin is when he went to Kelm and started the yeshiva in Kelm. But first, he started out in Grubin. Okay, so although I was upset at that point on the lack of the benefits, and these gavos, the lofty benefits to Yotzim Misham Rabin, which came out from there to the masses. But for myself, I was happy. I no longer had the needs of the community incumbent on me. To today, I'm not interested in having large numbers. Presumably, I guess he means of Talmudim. I want to have greater quality. Most other, I guess, Rosh Yeshiva want to have a bigger yeshiva as possible, or a bigger following as possible. They're rebels. Utila and Baruch Hashem as Mi Kodesh. I found a evidence from a holy source. B'chovas Havavos Amar Ma'at Hazach. A little bit of that which is refined. Who Arav is the much.
Plenty.
What?
Plenty.
Plenty. Good word. Okay. Therefore, I will not. I don't want to get to establish closeness only with people who I can examine or perceive. Shame no symbol in Zulasam that they're willing to share the burden with others. Without pursuing their own agenda at all. Lo mammon, not money. Lo covet, not honor. If I find people like that, I by nature am dedicated to them, devoted to them, babas and nefesh, with love of the soul. to do what they to do what they want, what they Tovlem, of course if it's good for them. Hey Guf, whether physically, hey Nevesh, or spiritually, Lechtov. And I'm going to write now. I guess I will write for such people, I should say. Afki Kosheks, even though it's difficult for me to write. Ba'kavel Ezes Hashem Yisborach. I hope that for God's assistance. Um, for such people I was created. Because they will give themselves over to me to conduct themselves based on my words, or my counsel, whether it's mundane matters, or heavenly matters. To such people, I cannot exempt myself. From canceling for them very much. I'm also ready to give counsel to those who listen to my discipline, my direction. Uh, and I'm going to negate things for them. Okay. Nobody gets here. It's supposed to somebody who I have not been able to check out. No, that's not it. So it's not but it means somebody who failed my test. He failed the call myself a normal is only doing things for his own benefit. And the evidence of that, he doesn't listen to wise advice, a wise man's advice. Especially somebody who doesn't train himself to share the burden. In a place where it requires a person to remain silent. Such a person cannot be taught by me. Gam Kane, believe something. If a person doesn't know to shut up when he's supposed to shut up, without any doubt, everything he does is for his own self-aggrandizement. Okay. So what was going to do to get counsels from others? He doesn't need advice from others. He's only concerned with what his own agenda is. And I think he doesn't take counsel for himself either. Because counsel would mean deliberation and objectivity. And he is completely subjective and driven without taking stock. I cannot negate my interactions with others for such people. You'll tell me that comes out from this. Key. Well, that's out of left field. You have to uproot avodah zarah, which is within yourself. Lo becha kelzar. Elzar. Now, within you, a foreign god. What is this foreign god? I know avas atzmo. Avodah zarah mamish. Love of self, which is true avodah zarah. Mild avas atzmo, to the extent that he diminishes love of self. Love truth. Chochmo, which is the signature or the seal of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, this essay is appropriate to call Gelus Avas Atzmo. Now, Rav Shimon Shkop in his Akdamat Shariyosher has the exact opposite take. He says Avas Atzmo is a good thing, but only if it's limited, only if it's your sense of self is expanded outwards and doesn't just include your personal self. As he says, it's a beautiful and fundamental piece, which he says that Avas Atzmo is a trait which is supposed to expand to include many, many people within the Atzmo. It's like what a person thinks about is himself. He doesn't think about himself exclusively, but rather himself, his wife, his kids, and extended family, whatever. So there is tzaddik works on expanding his sense of self to include many, many more people, perhaps eventually the entire universe. That's what explains beautifully the pasuk. If I'm not for myself, who's going to be for me? But Shani lets me, if myself is limited just to me, money, what is my ani worth? So the Shimon goes for an expanded ani. That's his perspective, and I would hazard to say that that's very similar to what you expect from Slabodka, even though Shim did not learn in Slabodka. He was before that, but the Slabodka you expect to find that development himself is a stepping stone to development of the world, development of others. Um, the Alter is more conventional here. I'm not saying it's a real contradiction because obviously everybody has a similar idea in mind, regardless of how they express it. But he's saying that focusing on Abbas Atzmo is a very bad thing, and that leads a person to do things for the wrong reasons. Person doing things for the wrong reasons, so then he cannot deal with him. Because such a person is not interested in anything other than the avodah zarah of self. Okay.
Very nice. Very nice.
Amr Azal, Ezu Derech Yishara. What is a straight path? Which is Tiferes Lo Mina Adam, something which is a glory to him from a fellow human beings. Kasav Rabbeinu Yonah Chosid. Perjitzayer, how does it work? You should imagine. Ilushal Eitzam Ibnei Adam. If he asked counsel from other people, what would they tell him to do? And that's what you should do. Something which if you asked other people, they would tell you to do. That's something you would do. But so says the author, it's an important point here. That person has to be willing to ask others for counsel. Right? For Hamas, that's most somebody who just loves himself. He doesn't look for advice or counsel. He knows it all. That will within him is distant from counsel. Perhaps tactical, strategic counsel, but not counsel for more Mussardic behavior. That's why it has to be a straight path and not something which you trick yourself into thinking is straight because of your ratzon. All this I wrote, it's true, just so you should not ask me to write you letters. Because I'm not worthy. Asher I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not worthy to actually be incumbent upon me to provide merit to others. Would it be that I could fix my own shortcomings? The father said, I don't know what happened. For several years, he was distant from Torah and from davening. Because Baruch will take mercy upon me and bring it close to Saboda within all the Jewish people. Even to the people who are close to me. In other words, evidently this is from a group which tried to get Mussar from the Alter of Kelm, was not close to him, and probably didn't learn in his yeshiva. But it turns out Alter of Kelm is a known Baal Mussar to give them, chizuk, or to give them other types of Mussar discourses by letter. And he says, I can't. He says, I feel even to my brothers, in other words, the people, I guess, who his Talmidim. And he goes, Kimat Klau Kim Leprakim Rechokim. Only write at very distant intervals. V'rak labanim asher gunis galu abirkai. Only to the children. Again, I assume is means the closer Talmidim, as opposed to colleagues. I guess Achai would be colleagues. Banim would be Talmidim. And they accept my discipline. He dug the law to a great measure. Him and Yocholiv Torah, that's me. From them, I can't exempt myself. So just like a person can make protests against the bad behavior of his household, he's supposed to do so. But avodah azos. But this you should take away, that this notice to you that I can't write such letters is a complete mimer in itself to those who understand it. The chadoshos gedolos lemaisa, and great new chidushim in practice. Bo are in it, lemavin davar, to some extent. Kimat l'shanos kol maasei ha'adam, almost to change all the deeds of a person. Okay, the Naveen mizel lama nimne no say ba'ol b'dvarim shatornik nesbaim. Why is it also one of the 48 ways which Torah is acquired? Ki Torah d'chsiba emes kinei. Torah says you have to acquire it's truth which has to be acquired. You can't sustain it only by the power of truth. Love self is the ultimate of the power of falsehood. That's a command to burn with others. There should be no seba all, as we have explained previous. You should listen to yourself slowly but surely from love of self, which is the ultimate falsehood. That way come close to the truth. Torah, and you're to acquire Torah. So I think what he's telling them is that your quest for Mussar is not is shallow. In other words, you're not. First of all, I'm not. We're not close that I can be no but oh with you, and you can be no but oh with me. But also that he says that a person can only be makabel Mussar if there's willing to be sarli mishmas. In other words, that they are to take upon themselves to be accept what that person is going to say to them to do, no matter what the state what he's going to tell them to do, whatever answers he's going to give, and therefore only people very close to you really going to be able to have a Mussar influence on to that extent. Because people who are not very close to you, they're not necessarily going to take your answers. They're not necessarily asking you for answers. Evidently, these people did not ask for answers. I don't know what they asked for. Perhaps they asked for Mussar Vort. So, but what?
Yeah, it sounds like he's writing to them to tell them, I'm writing to you to tell you that you guys are not where you should be.
Right.
And
So
I can't write to you all the time,
yeah,
telling you what to do because you're not really interested in what I tell you.
right. So, and I think that that's the idea of love of self, as he's talking about, is that they are not, they're interested in confirming, in validation, not in actual work. In other words, most people are looking to be validated. Be validated means, I love myself and I want people to realize how valid myself is, I am. And therefore, I look to others to confirm my high opinion of myself.
Right.
And evidently, he felt that there was something like that in how they're approaching it. And that does happen. A person approaches a great person of great stature, sometimes not to learn so much as to feel one is great oneself.
Some people just go to big gedolim. They go for a bracha. They don't ask what I should do. I already decided what I'm going to do. Just give me a bracha that what I want to do should be successful. And, that's not the way it works.
Right. Yes, it takes work. All right. That was a nice piece.
Yes, very nice. Thank you very much.
Shkoyach.
All right, take care. Yeah, bye-bye.